But one point of contention that we were talking about was because okay, so when I saw the list, I asked you like, "Oh, have you seen the list yet?" Sorry, I think it's going off. Have you seen the list yet? And you were saying like, "Well, it's not every one going to the island. It's just like people that have taken the plane, right?"
Not just of taking the plane. The list is just
Oh,
names
okay,
that they've mentioned in the investigation.
okay, right. And then they asked them like, were they on this plane? And you're like, well, the plane could have been chartered for other places, so we have to look at who went to the island. Is that
It
what you're saying?
yeah, it depends, and it's just like it's interviews from the witnesses, or I don't know who the witnesses are. I haven't looked into that, but like it's just like, oh, they may ask some question of, I forgot which, like they mentioned some celebrity, but he's like, no, but I don't think I ever saw him or something like that. But then
Well, Michael
because
Jackson.
yeah, so then his name would then be on the list if you don't like, you get what I'm saying? Like when they
Right. Yeah.
say,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the thing that I was seeing making the internet was they brought up uh, so far um, Stephen Hawking, Bill Clinton, and Prince Andrew. Okay. So when I was looking at the list and I was like, wait, and they didn't talk about the other person who I saw, which is Al Gore. So there was like a list of names, but then you're saying they just asked about Al Gore. We don't know anything yet about them.
sure,
Because I just saw like a whole list of names
yeah,
and I was like, how come you're skipping over like another important person? But that makes sense now. So if you're looking at the list, it's not just a list of um, like like guilty parties.
hmm,
It's a list of people that they're gonna question. So that's a good point of like reference because I was like, wait, Al Gore went to this island? Like how far reaching is this, you know? Um
but it
so
wasn't.
that
Yeah,
being said,
it's not to the
yeah,
island. It's just mentions of their names in
exactly, yeah,
investigation. Yeah.
yeah. So that's an important distinction to make. When I saw the list, I was like, that's kind of weird, but it might not he might not even been at all associated. It's just they brought his name up
Hmm.
in the conversation. So that's important. The the thing that I think is so interesting about this though is that the people that they're kind of outing kind of had a reputation already. So like Bill Clinton, we've heard of like the Clintons like assassinating people. Like they would say like they got what like what's that word where it's like accidental execution? Like they kill you but make it look like an accident. You've been like Clinton or something like that.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I've heard that before in like conspiracy theory circles. But the weird part is, now that you look at this, you're like, how accurate are conspiracy theories now? You know, it's giving credibility to things that we thought were so ridiculous. There's no way that there's this like underage like sex cabal. But then you kind of saw it with Nexium, and I was kind of like, oh, maybe it's just Nexium.
Hmm.
That was the thing. And then you're like, oh, Epstein. And you're like, well, he couldn't have had everyone. You're like, wait, the Clintons were there? Damn. And then Prince Andrew, that was wild. I remember that was um, because of where I had worked. It was like associated with Prince Andrew. And when that had dropped like years ago, like, I don't know, 3 years ago, that he might have been a part of Epstein's thing, it was just like damage control. They're like, whoa, we got to disassociate ourselves. But now it's like, no, he was fully there. We have like the evidence and stuff. Um, but then the final one, Stephen Hawking, that was crazy because I was like, I would have never expected that.
I don't know if I couldn't remember, but I think these names were already mentioned before. I think it's just now what Stephen Hawking was doing, I guess, was the more um,
Oh,
implication here.
Stephen Hawking was like,
I think these names were
suggesting.
already known. Because these are all in like reports of, I don't know, like journalism, like articles and stuff like that.
Wow.
Right? These are just whatever they've done in the investigation. That's the files that they're releasing. Right?
Right. Okay, that makes sense. I wonder how much research Simpsons does when they're making these episodes. Because do you see that thing with like, this scene hits different now, and it's like Stephen Hawking rescuing Lisa? But like, do you think they just kind of like get a bit of like they're like, oh, this would be a crazy conspiracy, and then they just make a joke out of it, and then later on it turns out they're correct because it was just like we're only remembering the wins, but we don't remember all the losses
Sure.
where they made references. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. Hmm.
But it's weird that like that was your actual reputation prior to, any of this coming out. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you take your body of, I don't know, it's like the Michael Jackson thing, the R. Kelly thing. It's like, how do you separate art from artist? Like Stephen
Mm-hmm.
Hawking did a lot of science, but now you're like, yeah, but he's that guy, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. No, but he's. I don't want to say like we knew that was weird, but his character has been. What did I see like before too? Because I think it was like in his movies, like or depicting his life, where it's um, like when he was
Oh yeah,
married.
you watched that. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah,
was
I know
like
you're talking
married,
about.
and he cheated on his wife. Like when he's already like that with his nurse. Then he cheated on
Oh,
with.
interesting.
He married the nurse. Then he cheated on her with the other nurse. So it's like,
Right, so it's kind of like in your nature already.
yeah.
But all right, have you heard of like Pizzagate?
But also like his life is, you know what I mean, stuck in the wheelchair, right?
Yeah, facts are facts. Like, what are you gonna do, bro? Like, that's a tough life. I'm sure there's so much trauma and like, I don't know,
I don't
pent up
know.
emotion. Yeah, like you gotta like exercise those demons somehow, I
I
guess. But
guess.
that's just wild.
Hmm.
Have you heard of Pizzagate?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right,
I don't remember
and
what it's about again, but
so there's like a pizza parlor I think in Washington that like in the basement it's like an underground sex ring for like pedophiles and stuff.
right, right.
And it was proven to be like, oh, this is not real, right? But like, how much fuel does this Epstein stuff give to like conspiracy theorists now? You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mm-hmm.
you give them a bit of credibility now. So you're like, oh, what you said in the past was so ridiculous. Yeah, but look,
Yeah,
and then now you start opening the door for like what else is out there.
sure. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that
Well,
like
I think
heading
I get that. I think with conspiracy theories or theorists like that, it's you got to stick to what evidence is there, right? So you can always
Mhm.
make up these things if it falls in that category. But if you have proof, there's like legitimate reasons to see this is a true story. Like you can't
Yeah,
just connect all like, just because they're conspiracies that they're all going to be true, right?
no facts are facts.
Right.
Totally, 100%.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that's the thing where people have to realize like uh, there were actual things, there were reason reports, there were. I mean, like this guy was convicted. Epstein was a long time ago, right?
Yeah, 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 he was.
So there was these are the evidence, going towards all these sort of things that they were doing.
I think okay, shot in the dark here. Um, I think maybe he was murdered.
Hmm.
Like
Sure, yeah.
there's a lot of evidence suggesting that he didn't hang himself, like that he was murdered. I forgot what the term was where you make it look like an accident, but or whatever, it escapes me now.
Hmm.
But I really think that if he had like gone to court and did the testimony, imagine what other craziness we'd find out. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like the cleanest way is if you just got rid of him and then made sure that other people had to figure it out themselves. So it like prolongs the process. And in that time, like think of the Clintons, for example, right? They know that they're gonna be found out eventually. So like, okay, we got this year gap between now and when people find out, and we need to set things in place to like make sure we're okay coming out of this thing. You know, I think if you look at all the options, if I was the person in power, I would go that route. You know, like executing him because like we're only hearing what we have as evidence, but imagine the stuff that's in his head that he's just like never put down,
Hmm.
or like the strategies or like why it worked and like all that stuff, because what they say is like he would invite these really influential people into these circles, but he would be videotaping you, so you'd be having like this experience, but he'd catch it on camera, and that would be extra leverage for him to like ask you to let this bill go through or something like that.
Sure.
you know and then okay, so what I'm thinking now is what else is going on. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Like, okay, we have this, we have the alien thing. What other things are we not seeing that are happening? And it kind of freaks you out. You know what I mean? We have like this superficial level of how we live our lives. And then we always, suppose that there's something else going on. And then it kind of seems like, yeah, there really was, or there really is something else going on this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on that? Or like, does it not make you feel that way?
Um, no, it doesn't. I don't think it makes me feel that. I just feel like
Really?
if things are coming out, it'll come out. It's just this is.
But okay, wait.
But there's two.
So
There's a level to it too. It's like how much if you let that stuff always happen to you, then you're. I don't know. I don't think that's. It's just not how we're built to live. Like
but I
it's
wonder
too
if that's a
stressed.
defense mechanism. Totally. I wonder if
Yeah.
that's a defense mechanism that we build in our minds. Like what you're saying right now is not like I've never not heard it before. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And I feel like that is a mental defense mechanism to be like, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like I trust in God. Like
Mm-hmm.
it'll all work itself out. Rather than like from my perspective, it's like, what are the other things we're being lied to about? Because this is so far reaching. These are all the top level people, and you have them, you know, at your whim. It's not even like it's like who rules the rulers, and blackmail information is the king. It sounds like some Game of Thrones stuff.
Yeah.
Remember, it's like right, and like if you have dirt on them, you can make things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like what laws were passed because of this? What things are they keeping secret because of this?
Okay.
It's like
Sure.
no, because like it's not just like we're not just having fun by like getting these people in our pockets.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're not like, oh, let's just create this island to just have fun, and I'm just gonna like film you, and then this is my exercise of power. Haha, I know something about you, right? It's like you're doing this for a reason. What's the reason? What's the bigger story here? And that's what freaking me out. Just like the alien thing. It's like when they went to Congress and they were like discussing black budget files. And like how they were like siphoning money and like all that stuff. It became about finances instead of actual UFOs, which I like because it's like, yeah, who cares if they're real or not?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's important, but let's see what game we're playing here.
Sure.
And like, if you look at it like that, then what is the bigger story that's going on with aliens? What is the bigger story with Epstein?
Mm-hmm.